All right, for all you leaders and managers out there, let me ask you a question. What's the one skill you rely on every single day, but probably never got taught in business school? It's not finance and it's not strategy. It's understanding people. It is the most critical and, honestly, the most overlooked skill in all of leadership. So let's dig into why this one blind spot is probably causing you so much trouble.
I mean, think about it. Why do those promising deals just collapse at the very last minute? Why do teams that were once on fire suddenly lose all their synergy and just fall apart? And oh, this one's a killer that keeps so many of us up at night. Why do your absolute best employees, the ones you rely on, suddenly hand in their resignation, seemingly out of nowhere? You know, the answer to all of these is the same, and it's a lot simpler than you might think.
Well, the answer comes down to one fundamental flaw in how we see the world. We make one critical mistake. We assume people are logical. We just assume that everyone around us, our team, our clients, our boss, is operating from a place of pure, cold reason, just like we believe we are. But that single assumption, it's the source of so much frustration and, frankly, a ton of leadership failures.
There's actually a name for this. It's called the self-mirror illusion. It's this really costly error where we interpret what other people do based on how we would act in that situation. Your colleague is quiet in a meeting, so you assume they're angry because you're quiet when you're angry. But here's the truth. Every single person is operating from a completely different mental map, a unique mix of their own past experiences, their own fears, their own motivations that we just can't see. And that gap right there between your map and theirs, that's where it all breaks down.
So, okay, if it's not logic, then what's actually running the show? To be a truly effective leader, you've got to look under the hood. You have to understand the real human operating system. And here it is. This is the core principle. At our most fundamental, primal level, we are all wired to do one of two things: move towards what feels good right now, or move away from what feels painful right now. That's the real engine. All the logical reasons, the justifications, the super complex explanations we come up with, that's just the story our conscious mind creates after the decision has already been made, just to make it all feel rational. This is such a perfect way to think about our minds. See, we spend all our time trying to persuade the part that's visible, the logical CEO who looks at spreadsheets and analyzes facts. But the real power, the true driver, is the unconscious mind. Think of it as this emotional, intuitive, hidden board of directors that's constantly making decisions based on feelings, old memories, and that primal drive to avoid pain. They're the ones really in charge. And this is where we need to make a huge pivot. The question, why did they do that, almost always leads to judgment, right? It leads to frustration because you're trying to apply your logic to their action. To really get it, to truly understand and influence people, you have to ask a much, much more powerful question. This right here is the question that changes absolutely everything. That employee who resists a promotion, they're not being illogical. They might be trying to avoid the pain of more pressure, maybe longer hours away from their family. That client who just ghosts you, they're probably not being rude. They might be avoiding the pain of having a tough conversation about their budget. The key is this. By asking this question, you shift from judging them to understanding them. And understanding, my friends, is the first and most important step to influence.
Okay, so if understanding their pain is the master key, how do we get better at actually seeing it? Well, this brings us to the practical toolkit every leader needs: emotional and social intelligence.
Let's get one thing straight. Emotional intelligence, or EQ, isn't some fuzzy, soft skill that you're either born with or you're not. No way. It is a concrete, learnable skill. It starts with you, with recognizing your own emotional triggers so you don't just react on impulse. And from there, it grows into learning how to read and respond to the emotions of the very people you're trying to lead. I love this comparison. Think of it this way. Your IQ, your smarts, your technical skills, that's what gets you the job. It gets you in the door. But your EQ,
That's what determines how far you'll go as a leader. It's what lets you build real trust, inspire your team when things get tough, and create that kind of awesome, productive team harmony we're all after.
And the great thing about EQ is we can actually break it down. It's a practical framework. It all starts with self-awareness, just knowing what's going on inside you. Then comes self-regulation, making sure your emotions don't hijack your decisions. Then motivation, that internal drive. After that comes empathy, the crucial skill of actually understanding what others are feeling. And finally, social skills, using all of that to build strong, effective relationships.
All right, now we get into a really powerful application of all this. It's about learning to read what isn't even being said. Because, people communicate a massive amount of information without ever saying a single word.
Seriously, think about every single meeting or negotiation you've ever been in. Before anyone even opens their mouth, there's a constant stream of data being broadcast through body language. And the crazy part is, the vast majority of us are completely blind to it. Learning to see what isn't said, it's like gaining a superpower.
So, what are you looking for? Let's start with the warm signals. These are your green lights. When someone is holding comfortable eye contact, leaning in when you speak, or maybe even unconsciously mirroring your posture, they are signaling trust. They're signaling interest. They're engaged. Their body is literally telling you, I'm with you on this. And then, on the flip side, you've got the cold signals. These are your red flags. If you're talking and someone suddenly breaks eye contact, or crosses their arms, or even subtly turns their feet towards the door, their unconscious mind is screaming discomfort or disagreement. These little cues are telling you that something needs to change in the conversation, and it needs to change right now. So, let's bring this all together. How do we apply this stuff to the ultimate leadership challenge, conflict? Most of us see conflict as a battle we have to win. But with these skills, you can completely reframe it as an incredible opportunity to build trust. Now, this is a radical shift in perspective. Your new goal is not to prove you're right. Your new goal is to listen so hard and understand the other person's perspective so completely that you transform the entire dynamic. You go from being adversaries to being collaborators. It's about turning a clash into a chance for real connection. So how do you actually do it? It's a simple 3-step process. First, you have to consciously stop trying to win. Your new goal is discovery. Second, pull out that master key question. What pain is driving them here? What are they trying to protect? And third, and this is so important, you have to prove you get it by rephrasing their feeling, not just their words. Saying, it sounds like you feel your hard work isn't being seen is 1,000,000 times more powerful than just saying, okay, I understand. And this really just sums it all up. Think about the long-term cost of just being right. Sure, you might win the battle of a single argument, but in doing so, you often lose the trust and respect of that person for good. A truly strategic leader knows that relationships are the real currency of success, and they always, always choose the person over the point. So here's your challenge. Don't just let this be interesting information that you forget about tomorrow. Make it a real tool. Today, I want you to pick one person on your team, maybe someone you find a little challenging to work with. And for the rest of the day, instead of judging their actions, just ask yourself that one question. What are they trying to protect here? What pain are they trying to avoid? Just make that one little shift in your own mind, and I promise you, you will be stunned by how much it changes everything else.